Evidence number 3, Liam de Santiago Saldaña Ríos. 3 important events of the last decade. First, I choose the Gulf War, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the Russian-Ukraine war. I choose them because there's one country that is related with the three of them and had like a strong influence even in this moment. The not surprising United States is my protagonist of this presentation. First of all, because in the Ukraine and Russian war, this one is the arms seller of the Ukraine. Also, it helped to the development of the vaccine in the COVID-19, and of course the Gulf War, sending troops to Iraq. Also, I picked the United States because it's a very known country and it has like a lot of history in terms of unipolar power, also to the globalization, digital era, and terrorism. So I'm going to use it like an example to give more clear my ideas. The globalization is when the growth of economies, cultures, population, service, and infrastructure interdepend of other ones. This means like when we buy products that they're from other countries like China. This one is a very good example. Also, when the USA needs fuel from other countries because they don't have the natural resources. Terrorism. The terrorism are violent acts done by individuals, organizations, or groups with the objective of point out a culture, idea, or belief. Let's say that this is a radicalization, and this means that it involves human lives mostly with acts of terror and violence due to the extreme way. And United States had lived some of them, like the 9/11 attack with Al Qaeda, and actually this involves to the Iraq war later on. Unipolar, it's like a centralist power when one state has cultural, economic, and military influence globally with no competition by other states. This is very important. No competition by other states. In this case, the United States, of course, is the perfect example because there's no like direct rival of them. In their times, they were the USSR, but when the USSR collapsed, you could say that the United States had like a free way to reach this unipolar power. You could see that in Qatar. They have military bases of the United States. You can see it in Ukraine. They have support of the United States. You can see in a lot of different parts that the United States has like a lot of influence in other countries, even here in Mexico. World digital era, the change of the traditional industry to a modern one, but using principally the communication technology. Let's like focus on that. The communication technology, the social media are the perfect example of communication technology. In other times they didn't have that. So right now we're living a time when you can call someone from other part of the world in seconds or instantly. So this means that there's no part in the world you can hide or you cannot communicate it. There's still some parts, but we are trying to solve this with the Starlink project. Also, the United States is pioneer in this topic because they have like a lot of investment in new technology, armamentistic technology, communication technology, system technology, process technology, AI, etc. So in this moment we're in the, you could say, like the best time to create things, improve, etc. using the technology. You can see it in robots, in the workplaces, or even Excel, your computer, Instagram, YouTube, etc. Now let's start to asking some questions. Why the globalization emerged? Well, principally because other countries need things that they don't have. Normally, mineral resources like fuel, gold, silver, etc., for making this new technology. So they need resources to keep their lifestyle of their habitats or to make guns, to make everything. They need resources, so they need to reach with other countries that have these resources more cheap or more easily, or more abundant. Like China, they have like a manufacture, they're very cheap. Mexico has fuel, Iraq has fuel, Qatar has fuel, they have gas, so they need to reach to other countries if they want these resources. So they are forced to open in quotes. Now, what caused the attacks of the 20th century? Well, I think that the eradication of cultural differences and beliefs. Also, a lot of hate and misunderstanding, because remember that we are a young civilization. So this means that our society needs to become better, and I think terrorism is one way to show that we are not yet ready to become a greater civilization. We have like a long journey to learn about. Now, how does the end of the Cold War relate with the Unipolar War? Well, just to say that the end of the USSR means that United States, they had, like we talked about earlier, a freeway or a promotion. They just have like an open space because Europe was weak, the USSR were there done, China was weak, Asia was weak, America was weak, every other country was weak, and United States took the opportunity and they become the unipolar world, and they had the infrastructure to become the unipolar world, because it's not easy, it's just not like raising your hand. How has the digital era influenced today's society? Well, it's hard to say something that the digital era hasn't influenced, because we depend of digital devices. There's no place we don't, internet, electricity, machines, your car, your system of the university, canvas. We need technology, we need digital devices today and in a lot of future years, because we are evolving to continue with this necessity of dependence of digital devices. So in general, I would say that the digital devices made our life easier, but we are more dependent of it. You just imagine your you don't have electricity in your house, you think you don't have nothing to do. And this, if you become younger and younger, this is more seeable, you can see it more. There is this dependence and even necessity of digital devices. This means apps or gadgets or everything. So it's, I would say, they made our lives easier, but we're more dependent of that. This is example of the unipolar power of USA and the digital era. We can see the United States has almost all the satellites in the space. They own almost everyone. And China, their direct competition in quotes, they have only 366 per satellite in space. So we can see the digital era and also the unipolar power of the United States. And probably you should ask, now what? What we can do? What we can change? This part is your part. We need to take the opportunity to change the world. This means end with the terrorism, with the unipolar powers, and this is not a easy task. It's very hard, but it needs to start with you. You need to press that button. If you want to see a better world and change it to improve your lifestyle and your son's lifestyle and your grandson's lifestyle, you need to start changing. You. You need to start changing yourself, then changing your group or your family, and you changing your community, then changing your country, then changing the world. You need to start with yourself for later change the world. And I just want to finish up with this phrase: I don't divide the world between weak and strong, nor even between success and failures. I divide the world between the ones who learn and the ones who don't. Benjamin Barber. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time.